Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello dear friends, welcome back to Spiritism and the Media here on Kardec Radio. Today I'd like to bring a book, this book here, Endearing Gems from Francisco Candido Xavier. This book, it was published by SAB, Spiritist Alliance for Books here in the US. And so it's available for all of us in English. And it brings messages from Chico Xavier, from André Luiz, from Emmanuel, or their messages from Chico Xavier or from some authors, some spirits that he channeled. So we have like short messages here, many of them. So we have those gems here for us to reflect, for us to study. And my idea is to bring this book, some of those messages here today and through the following weeks. And as usual, for us to read those messages, think a little bit about them and try to apply them, try to see how we can apply them to our daily lives when we are talking about media, when we are talking about communication. So the first message, the one that I bring today, is Illuminating Path. It is a message from André Luiz, channeled by Francisco Candido Xavier. So let's read the message. Illuminating Path. Without good ways, you will live without the trust of others. Without a fortress, you will succumb as you face the first obstacles on the road. Without positive faith, you will wander without direction. Without dedicating yourself to goodness, you will risk terrible hardening of your heart. Without noble examples, you will become useless to the world. Without constructive work, the tedium will deplete your energy. Without your own effort, you will never reach the doors to the higher realms. Without hope, your terrestrial nights will be without light. Without understanding your way through the shadows, without understanding, your way through the shadows will be painful. Without the spirit of renouncement, you won't help illuminate the path of others. So what can we think about here when we think about this illuminating path and those words that André Luiz brought to us? So first we have two points here. We have illuminating path, like illuminating our own path and illuminating others' path. Because we know, as they say here, like he says here, that without noble examples, you will become useless to the world. And we know we've brought that message before from the book Happy Life by Jonah de Angelis, that we are always an example to others. But it's up to us to be a noble example, as André Luiz is saying here, or to be a poor example. So by being a noble example, and here we can see both ways, because when he says without noble examples we will become useless to the world, and this we can bring here when we talk about media, about communication, is about the examples that we see around us. Because many times we seek outside some examples that they are not illuminating us, they are not uplifting us, they are not helping us with our own path. And it's up to us to see and to choose the examples that we want to our own life. And that's when the media, the communication, it comes to our world, to our topic here, because we see all the time many different examples on the media, and it's up to us to follow those examples or not. But for us to be able to follow a noble example, we need to know how to choose, how to see a good example. And we see many times, for example, we see in the Gospel according to Spiritism by Allan Kardec, there is a text when he talks about good spiritists, how we can see them, how we can know who they are. And it applies not only to spiritists, because we know we do not have spirits all around, spiritists all around us, but we have people from many different religions or no religion at all, and it's not, the point is not being a spiritist or not, but as they say, being able to be a good example to others, being able to apply the teachings that we have, those teachings from Jesus, those teachings from the high elevated spirits, those universal teachings, God's law in our daily lives. And we do not need to be a spiritist to do that. We do not need to choose only examples in Spiritism to do that. When we see people around us, we can see people doing good things, doing charitable work, people bringing to us some good and elevated words to our daily lives. And so then is when we will choose those noble examples. By choosing them, we are learning ourselves, and by learning that and applying that to our own lives, we are becoming also an example to others. So we won't become useless to the world, and we can be those examples, as we said before, in our family circle, in our friends circle, in the media, when we post online, when we tweet, if we have a podcast, anything that we do out there, we can be and we should be good examples to others, so we can help others as well. And here it's what we say about illuminating paths, because at the same time that we illuminate our own path, we are helping others to illuminate their path as well. And we have others here. For example, let's see this sentence here: without understanding, your way through the shadows will be painful. But what understanding? We need to understand our own life, our own trials, our own difficulties that we need to overcome. If we understand that as a way for us to grow, we won't be painful, because we know that any difficult moments that we are facing will be good for us to go further. It will be good for us to be a better person, and the same applies to others. If we understand the world around us, if we at least try to think what things are happening, or at least the good side, what is the goodness that we can bring from the things that are happening around us, we can the same way have a path that we will not be as painful as it could be. If we see today the world we are living with this pandemic, if we do not see the good side of what's happening, and the good side, I mean the good examples that are coming from them, we can see so many charitable works being done. We can see changes in our own behavior, in the way that we connect to the people around us, and we can see we've been overcoming many difficulties through the last 1 year and a half, and we can see how we have grown through that. And so that's what we can apply this, about this understanding, about the shadows will not being painful. We have the shadows, we have those difficulties, but we can overcome them in a way that is good for us, and it's good for the ones around us. So that's the main message I think that we can see here, and we can bring here. For example, without positive faith, we will wander without direction. So having this positive faith, knowing that things are happening for a reason, the things that are happening, there is a goal with everything that happens to us. So we have this faith, we know that we understand God's will, or at least even though we do not understand really truly His will, but we know that it is a good will, that God is goodness. So we know that, and we have this faith that things are happening for a good reason, and in the end it will be good for us. So without that in mind, we will have this path, this good path, and we will be examples to others around us as well, by being and trying to be each day a better person. So as usual, I bring a message from the book Happy Life by Divaldo Pereira Franco, through the Spirit Joanna De Angelis. So I'm opening the book randomly. So let's see. Today's message is number 34. Keep cheerfulness as part of your conduct. A grouchy demeanor implies distress, discontent, and annoyance. You can act rightly and be effective without wearing a mask of soulless. Cheerfully and joyfully spread good humor all around you, radiating the well-being that fills your heart. The treasure of cheerful behavior is worth the happiness it bestows on others. Thank you so much for your company. May God bless all of us. See you next week.